Hello, welcome to our set of videos about how to transform your practice using AI. My name is Katie Young. I am the co-founder and managing partner of Ad Astra Law Group in San Francisco, California. I litigate in the areas of business, employment, real estate, and trademark. And I'm showing you in these videos what tools I have used to totally transform my practice after my most junior associate left and what our workflows look like now using this incredible project called Legion.Law. I'm joined today by Arthur Rothrock, who's the creator of Legion.Law and a lawyer himself. Welcome, Arthur.
Thank you so much, Katie, for having me again. I love this series. It's a lot of fun watching Legion work.
It is a lot of fun. It's really made my practice a lot more enjoyable because when I get to go use your product, it's exciting. So let's go ahead and show it. Pull it up right now. This is the beginning screen. I will log in and it knows already a case that I've been working on called Meridian Healthcare versus Quantum Dynamics. Quick hypothetical, this is a healthcare company that hired a software company to build it a custom piece of software, and the software didn't do what it was supposed to do, and there were delays, and there's an allegation that the software company knew that it couldn't deliver. And so earlier in one of these videos, we had it draft a complaint and it came up with some causes of action that we didn't tell it about. We've also done contention interrogatories and special interrogatories and requests for production. So here's RFAs. And Arthur and I were just talking about how a lot of lawyers think RFAs are more art than science. So I'm really excited to see if Legion can do a really good job here. So normally when you log in, you go start a matter and you would tell it the name of the matter and the jurisdiction. In this case, this is Meridian versus Quantum, Meridian being the healthcare group, Quantum is the software company, and we're in California, and this is in Santa Clara. So let's go ahead and go to that case. And you can see we've already drafted a couple of things in this case, but we're going to create something new. And what we're going to do is propound request for admission, generate document. We are going to use just the complaint, which was already loaded in here. If you are starting a matter new, obviously you would just drag and drop to upload. You can also upload an answer or previous RFA sets or any other additional documents you want to look at. But for simplicity, we're just going to show it the complaint to see what it can do. Are there any of our own discovery instructions you want to provide?
No, I would say we can just fire it off baseline. So what's going to happen for this is that it's going to run some analysis behind the scenes, create a discovery plan, and then it's going to execute on that plan. It's great for your first set of discovery. If you're on your second, third set of discovery, maybe there's only very narrow or discrete issues that you care about, then that would be where you would sort of put in your custom, I only want RFA on damages or about liability, something like that. And then we will skip the whole discovery plan, which sometimes can take a little bit, and it'll just get you straight to the RFAs that you're really interested in.
Great. Okay, so we've done a couple of these demonstrations where we were the defendant. Let's say we are the plaintiff and we are the party that initiated the provided complaint or petition. And so we are Meridian and the responding party is going to be Quantum. And it comes up here with confirm and generate. Let's hit it. And so to begin, it's giving us the definition styles. You can do nested if that's how you prefer it, or separate. Let's show nested for this one,
Perfect.
where it defines the term within the individual request for admission. And then it came up with some definitions.
Yeah, same as before. Up top is the default definitions. These are what gets populated in every single kind of RFA. So if you're in a different case, these are the definitions that are going to be there. You can edit that however you like. And then we also generate you for each case-specific definitions that are keyed off of the stuff that's in the complaint or any of the other materials that you upload.
Right, like for instance, here it caught the agreement means the software development agreement, its date and the parties and what it was for. We didn't have to tell it that. That's fantastic. Okay, so let's say I accept all of these case-specific definitions. If I had another case-specific definition I wanted, I could enter it down here, right?
Yeah, you could just say, give me a definition for whatever it is, and then it'll go ahead and regenerate your case-specific definitions with that added in there. And you can do direct inline edits if you want to tweak whatever it comes up with to your preferences.
Ah, yes, each of these is fully editable. Great. All right, well, let's just keep it simple and hit generate discovery and see what it comes up with. It's been really fun to do this series of videos. And it's just been so wonderful for the clients. I think it's fun for the clients too. I had put in my representation agreement a section about use of generative AI, and I explained in there that we as the lawyers are going to uphold our ethical duties, our duty of confidentiality to make sure that the client's confidential information is not being fed into an AI model that learns from that and uses that data, our duty of candor and our duty of diligence to make sure that we're checking the output of the AI, and that anytime we're filing something with the court, which of course discovery doesn't get filed, but when you're generating, like for instance, a complaint that you're going to sign and file with the court, you've got to make sure that you're meeting your duty of candor to the court and diligence, that you've checked all that's in there, because it's, if you've seen from previous videos, AI does hallucinate. It does engage in factual drift sometimes. And Arthur was explaining, if there's a lot of data that you put in, the risk of factual drift is a lot higher. But in this case, we gave it just this complaint, which is pretty succinct. And so I wouldn't expect that we would see a lot of things off base here in this one. But if we had uploaded, you know, like for instance, a deposition transcript, it would be a lot for it to read and digest. What is there a page limit for how much can be uploaded before the before hitting generate?
So in general, the context window for our platform is like around 200,000 tokens, and that usually translates to about 300 pages of single space text. But there is like a sweet spot, like a Goldilocks zone for how much context you want to give it. Because if you're all the way up at that sort of at that limit or that ceiling, it's going to struggle a little bit. It might forget some things. The accuracy of it being able to remember everything in those 300 pages of text is a little bit lower. I think it's still like around maybe 80, 85%, somewhere around there. So typically we recommend to keep it around like half of that. Like the upper limit should maybe be around 100K, 100,000 tokens, or maybe 150 pages. So we can handle quite a bit. But it's however much you need for the actual task. If you would look at a complaint to draft RFA and you wouldn't look at anything else, Legion doesn't need anything else. If you're going to look at an agreement or something else that maybe you're going to want to look at to do this task, then you're going to want to give that to Legion. So for things like that, just think about scope. You wouldn't, whenever you give a task to an associate or paralegal or whoever, you're not just going to give them the entire case file. Usually you're going to say, hey,
Right. Go read the whole thing.
hey, here's the mediation brief. Here's the complaint. Here's their cross complaint. Like here's sort of the key things that you might want to know for whatever it is. Here's the factual background that'll get you up to speed. And then, here's some of the other granular stuff that you need to actually do whatever the task is. So, just use the same best practices as you would for your associates or at work as you would for Legion.
Good tip. All right, look what it came up with. It starts, looks like at the beginning of the complaint, where the first request for admission is admit that Quantum is a corporation under the laws of Delaware. And that it pulled from the complaint that pulled from the contract and was able to come up with the jurisdiction and venue part. So if you saw that video earlier, that was pretty cool. All right, let's see what else it's saying here. Admit venue is proper.
Yeah, it looks like it went pretty comprehensive. Some things I probably wouldn't burn because, I try to keep it around 35, but it gives it there. Maybe if there is a dispute about jurisdiction or venue or wherever you're at, you might want to throw that in. But if you don't, it's pretty easy to bin them. You just hit the trash can. You can use the pencil to edit them if you want. And then the plus sign is how you add your own custom ones. But, I don't really like to ever do it the old fashioned way anymore. I just sort of tell Legion on the right what RFA that I'm looking for that I want to add, and then it will provide them to me that I can add to the left. So
Excellent. So you can enter new ones in there. Okay, so I would spend some time going through all these to make sure that they are in proper format. And these tools are really effective if you know what you're looking for. So, as a seasoned litigator, both Arthur and I know what a set of RFAs should look like based on this complaint that we had drafted. So if you have that knowledge in hand, what's showing here in this left-hand pane is very easy to work with. So let's say I've looked at all of these and I find them acceptable, except I deleted the couple that were about jurisdiction and venue because that's not an issue in the case. And let's say I want to add one more. Let's say I want to ask about damages. What would I tell it?
You can say just give me some more requests for admission on damages and see what it comes up with. You can be as general or as specific as you like. It's up to you. Legion does a pretty good job of figuring out what you want.
That is way cool.
And if you don't, if it doesn't do a good job, you can just, clarify or add, you can continue the conversation with it and it'll continue to give you some more RFAs until you've found, the ones that you're happy with. And then when you're ready to switch to a new topic, you just click clear and start over.
And that's through this chat bot down here.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So I asked it to give me more on discovery and on damages, and it gave me a bunch more. And so if we want to keep those, if we like them, I can hit select all new and add them over. All right. And let's say I'm happy with this. Would we be,
You just
I'd be
click
able
finalize
to
up at the top and you're good.
finalize? Okay. And it's going to come up with the heading. There it is. It'll be on the pleading paper, and it'll have all the definitions that we looked at.
That's right. I think for this one, because we did nested definitions, they'll actually be in the text of the request for admission themselves rather than a separate section.
Great. And it just takes a couple of minutes. It's pretty magical. And RFAs can be a huge time-consuming task for a case, and super important. Um, and we can ask more than 35. You can send out this initial set and send more later. And it will know if we go in to do another set of requests for admissions, will it already know that we did set number one, and then it'll do a council declaration and say how many were sent before?
Yeah, so whenever you queue up like a new DocGen task and you want to do another set of RFAs, it'll ask you if there's been any other previous RFAs. And then the document that you've done before will be there to be selected pretty easily. So it won't do it automatically, but we run a bunch of sort of analysis on every document that gets uploaded to Legion so we can tag it and categorize it specifically. So we know that if something is request for admission, we know if it's a complaint, that sort of thing. So we make it pretty easy for you to add on. And then when you do your second set, we'll start you right off at whatever number we left off at for the last set.
Great. And then here it goes. Here's the request for admission. The definitions are nested in there, as we'd said. And then those look good. But if something didn't look good, you can click in there and edit however you want. I'm going to cancel out of that. Let's say this looks good for you and you're ready to give this work product to your paralegal to finalize or to a partner to review. You can go to download. It'll just take a second. I learned through doing this series of videos that even after you've purchased the document, like we're about to do here, Legion can have you can go back into the account, into that case, and rejigger it some more and only get charged for the extra pages that come out, correct?
That's right. I wanted people to iterate as much as they wanted. We understand that sometimes we have paralegals or associates that are doing the initial draft and then they're taking it to a partner to review and give comments. And so we wanted to make it easy for them to come back and change things. And especially if you are a solo and you have your own case, maybe for the complaint builder, you've slept on it or you've talked with your client and now you need to do some revisions. I want people to be able to do them really easily. So you'll see here that we have 9 pages. So it'll be $90 since it's $10 per page of output. Say she pays, she goes back, she wants to add some more RFA, and we go up to 10 pages. We'll only charge the difference at 10. So really easy.
That's incredible.
And we're
Um,
not charging you until you're 100% happy with it and you actually want to download the Word doc so you can play with RFAs as much as you want and you're not going to pay a cent.
That's great. Okay, let's go ahead and purchase these documents. I've preloaded my credit card in here and it'll automatically download.
Yeah, and you saw we also automatically did the council declaration for you because we saw that you're over your 35 RFAs.
Excellent. And then there we go. Let's enable editing. That is a nice looking set of discovery. Now, are these headings here, are these editable as well?
Yeah, so everything is editable. We use the appropriate styling for everything. A nice feature is, I want people to be able to easily be able to edit documents after they've sort of downloaded them just as easily as they can on the platform. So one of the things that we like to show is, okay, you want to add some more, maybe after the fact, you don't have access to Legion, you're on an airplane or something, you can pop in, copy, paste, edit, make your edits, highlight, right click, update field, and then the auto numbering will kick in and you can continue on your merry way. You don't have to manually number everything, which is really handy when you're trying to make additions or edits in the middle of your set of discovery. You don't have to go and edit every single number that follows that. So nice touch.
Oh, excellent. Saves so much time and money. All right, well, that's what we had to show for how to do RFAs in Legion. And I think it did a pretty good job. It's definitely as good as a junior associate would give me to start for a heck of a lot less money. So thank you, Arthur, for helping transform my practice. I hope
Happy
it
to do
works
it.
for you as well. All right,
Thank you.
thanks everyone. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.